Hey there, are you like me and you're constantly checking your phone to look and see what your Amazon sales are for the day? Um, or, looking to see did you get, numbers on Shopify or whatever platform you're looking on. You are looking at whatever that is and you're like, have like oh yes, I got another sale, or oh no, why am I not getting more sales? Da, 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 da. Well, my name is Kevin, and I'm from Maximizing E-commerce, and I help people build e-commerce businesses that they can be proud of. And in this video, I'm going to talk a little bit more about balancing that short-term focus of almost hour by hour, where you have symptoms like your thumb is really sore, you want to wake up in the middle of the night and check your results. If you have ever experienced that, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment down below and how you manage this. But just to talk a little bit about myself and my own story. So I've now been selling online for about 3.5 years, since I got my very first sale. And it was like that first sale, it was just a rush of adrenaline, like, oh my gosh, this is real. I can actually make sales. And so what ended up happening was I'm a recovering addict. I'm an addict of checking my results. And what ends up happening is, if you're like me, you probably can relate to this, where you're checking your results and you get like almost a happiness come over you when you see like the numbers going up, or if the number's not going up, or it's not going up fast enough, or whatever the case is. All of a sudden you kind of get this ho-hum, woe is me. So up until about, well, let's just say right now, for about year to date, as I record this, it's late February, I'm up about 40% on the year, which is pretty good, from the same time period last year. Now, the challenge is, I was looking forward to Valentine's week, like the week leading up to Valentine's Day, because last year I had a big bump at that time, and that didn't happen this year. In fact, I ended up being flat. So I'd see my growth 40%, looking at it in like a 7-day period is how I have it set on my app. So it would go from 40% for like the same rolling 7-day period the year earlier. I would go from, let's say 40%, 35%, just keep going down to 12%. It's still a gain. I mean, I'm still up from the year before, but at one point, like right before Valentine's Day, it was 0% growth year over year. And I started freaking out, and my head's telling me this head trash, which I really believe the concept of head trash is real. These stories we tell ourselves. The head trash starts telling me, oh my God, things are terrible. It's all the end of the world. Now, what I really needed to do then was look in to see why. What's more important is why, not just the story that bubbles up its evil story in my head. So I went in, I looked at the analytics. Well, my most popular product that I sold last year in the time period leading up to Valentine's Day was out. And then for whatever reason, I had a product that worked pretty well for Valentine's Day last year. It wasn't seeing a bump at all. So if I took that out, I was actually still doing okay. If I took those two products out of the mix from last year and compared it to this year, I was actually doing well. So I made sure that, I got more stock into Amazon of my most popular product from the year before. And then, the one product that did well, like the 2 weeks leading up to Valentine's Day last year, it's just, well, now its time period has gone and went. So now I'm back up for, actually yesterday morning, I checked the app for that week time period, which was basically the week after Valentine's Day. I was up like 50%. So it's one of those crazy things that it's easy to get caught up in these stories in our head of like day to day, like, oh, the numbers are good, oh great, or the numbers are bad, oh no. And it's like we almost start like putting our thoughts and our almost our self-worth behind like these numbers. And it's good to know your business and know where you're at, but don't get too caught up in the day-to-day of it. And I'm guilty of it, of, constantly checking my analytics and whatnot, because I want to know, but I have to remind myself that at the end of the day, it's not about one day's numbers. It's about the big picture of where am I going and what does the trends look like. And that's really what's more important, is the overall trend, not just one snapshot in time, but the big picture. Because at the end of the day, I've got a vision and a big picture of where I want to go. And, if you look at the stock market, over time it's gone up, but there's lots of dips along the way. And, running a business is like that. And sometimes it's explainable why maybe there's a dip, and other times there's no reason. But as long as it's not constantly dipping down, it's not something to worry about. So really the question to ask oneself is there something that's broken? And if the answer is yes, fix it. Do whatever you can do to fix it. And then if there's not something that's easily recognizable, give it a little bit more time and see, is this a trend or is this just a one-time thing? Because sometimes we can get too caught up into try to fix a problem that doesn't actually exist. So if it's not an easily identifiable problem, like you're out of inventory or PPC is shut off, or your listing got suspended, or something that's like pretty clear, like, okay, it's a fire and I need to put that fire out. And if it's not that, then okay, what can I do to fix it right away? Then I need to start taking a look at something more of like a long-term strategy of like, okay, let's kind of wait and see. Is this, give it another week or two. And if you're still seeing the problem, then okay, then I need to start diving in a little bit more. Because we don't want to just keep putting out all these little fires that may or not even exist. Because again, some of this is there's highs and lows, and there's no sense getting too wrapped up in the lows or too wrapped up in the highs for that matter too. So it's just a matter of, keep a long-term vision and not get too wrapped up in the day-to-day, because at the end of the day, if your business is growing and things are going well, then that's great. And if things aren't necessarily going well, what can you do to fix it? And is it something you can do to fix it in the short term, like, a quick fix, like, oh, I need to send some more inventory in, or I need to make an order with my supplier, or something along those lines. But if it's, you're seeing numbers dip down a little bit, especially if, compare it from year over year, the same time period, is it explainable why? Sometimes holidays fall different times of the week, or, whatever the case is. And so sometimes, just give it a few more days and the numbers might balance themselves out. Or whatever the case is, or maybe you run a special that time last year and you're not running that special now, and that gave you a bump. So, just make sure you have the real story of what happened before you start diving in, and then make an informed decision. And then also, just a side note is, challenge yourself on not checking your analytics quite as often. And I realized I had a problem, like a legitimate, probably addiction, when I would want to wake up in the middle of the night. And I know I alluded to this before, but it's true. I'd want to wake up in the middle of the night. And if this has happened to you, I'd love to hear about it in the comments down below, where I would wake up in the middle of the night and I would have to check my phone, not to look at my email, not to see if, people liked my post on Facebook or something like that, but I would want to see, how did my numbers end up? Because I'm on the East Coast, and so the day ends at 3 a.m. Well, there's not much I'm going to do at 3 a.m. But I was waking up wanting to know how I finished. So to counter that, I made it harder on myself. So rather than using my phone as an alarm clock, I actually bought a real alarm clock, like the kind we grew up with, those of us who are old enough to remember the days before phones, which I think is everyone. But I got a manual alarm clock, and I took my phone, and when it's charging overnight, it's in the kitchen in the farthest possible place in my house from my bedroom. So that way I'm not going to tempt myself to make it, or at least make it easy on myself to wake up in the middle of the night, because that is a legitimate problem. And then, one thing I'm starting to challenge myself that I've not been very good at, but I do want to start doing a little bit more, is during the day, taking my phone when I'm at work, and work being working for myself, because I like to give myself defined time periods to work at minimum, and then I need to start putting the phone on airplane mode more often when I'm in the office working on the business, or working on the business, I should say, and not get too caught on the numbers in the business. So hopefully that was helpful, or if it resonated with you, I'd love it if you can give us that little thumbs up, just to let us know that you appreciated this little talk. And then again, if you have any comments, leave them down below. And if you're not a subscriber of this channel, please consider subscribing. That way I can make sure to give you an update when we have more videos like this available to help you on your e-commerce journey, because my goal here is to help other e-commerce sellers like myself who are looking to grow their businesses, build a business that can support them. That's where I've gotten to myself now, where I'm being supported by my business. I had now built a business that supports myself and my family, and I'd love to see that for more people. So thank you so much for watching this, and I wish you the best on your e-commerce journey. Take care and have a great day.